Kaixo, egunon eta ongi etorri. Welcome to this Basque crash course that I'm about to present to you. My name is Siru, and I'm a Finnish translator, currently living in Barcelona and studying Basque. And I wanted to teach you some of this fascinating language because I really love it. It's my favorite language, and I think you will like it too. So, in case there is someone who has never heard of Basque before, I want to explain to you a bit what is Basque, and where is it spoken, and is it a big language, or are there many speakers? So, in case you have never heard of Basque, it is spoken here. This place is called the Basque Country. In Basque, it's Euskal Herria. And as you can see, it's located between Spain and France. So the border is more or less here. And it's quite a small place, actually. And not all the people who live in this area speak Basque, but we'll talk about that later. So this is where it's spoken. And before we start learning some of this language, I'll explain some facts about it. So in Basque, this language is called euskara. In some dialects, it can also be called euskera, oskara, euskara, uska, esquara, esquara, euskala. So it depends on the dialect. And as I said, it's spoken in the Basque Country. And here you can see the flag of the Basque Country. It's called ikurriña. Ikur means a sign or a symbol. And it was designed by two founders of the Basque Nationalist Party in 1894. And it was first used in 1936 in the region, but then during the dictatorship of Francisco Franco, it was not used. But then again, after 1979, it has been used. I did a presentation about the Basque language in last year's Polyglot gathering. So in case you want to know more about the history of the country and the history of the language, you can find the presentation on Polyglot Gathering's YouTube channel. But since this is a crash course in the language, I'm not going to explain the history as well as I did last year. Basque is a language isolate, which means that it doesn't have any known living relatives. There are quite a few suggestions on in which language family it could belong to, or if it's related to some other languages. There are quite a few people here who think that it's related to Finnish, which it is not. There are some similarities in the grammar, but I think it's just a coincidence. And now it's thought that it's pre-Indo-European language, which means that it was spoken in the Basque Country before the Indo-European languages came. And there are less than a million speakers. Also, this number varies depending on the source, but this is like the average of how many speakers there are in Basque, so 750,000 speakers. And there are 5 dialects which are called Euskalkiak. So there's one here in Vizcaya, there's one in Gipuzkoa, and then there's one in Nafarroa. There's one here. This is the French side. So this is one dialect here, and then there's here one. And the Basque that I'm learning and that I will be teaching you is called Euskara Batua, which means Unified Basque. And it's like the standardized Basque, and it was created in 1968 because people thought that it had a better chance of survival because there were not that many speakers after the dictatorship of Franco, because during Franco's regime, you were not allowed to use Basque. You were not allowed to have a Basque name. Some tombstones were removed if they had Basque name, or if they had Basque on it. So the amount of speakers suffered a lot during this period. And that's why they created Euskara Batua. And they used the central dialects to form it. And that's also what they teach at school, and that's what you hear in the news and what you read on newspapers and everything. So that's Batua, meaning unified. And Basque is an agglutinative language, which means that you can see long words, because Basque uses suffixes and prefixes and puts words together. That's why people also think that it's related to Finnish, because Finnish does the same. And another interesting thing about Basque is that it's ergative absolutive language, and it means that it doesn't use nominative and accusative like most most Indo-European languages do, and I guess most European languages. But we will talk about that later, so don't worry about it now. If you see Basque writing, it uses the Latin alphabet, but you can see quite a lot of X and Z in Basque. So maybe that's how you can recognize it, and a lot of TX and TZ. So this is just an overview of the alphabet. Here I have explained a bit more about the pronunciation. The letters that you can see that are in a lighter green, they are not used in Basque, but they are included in the alphabet because of loan words or words from other languages and names, but they are not used in Basque, actual Basque. And the pronunciation of the letters is more or less like in Spanish. Like, for example, H is not pronounced in some dialects, yes, but in Batua it's not. And there are 5 vowels: A, E, I, O, and U. And and then there are some of these consonant clusters that count as one sound. So it's just to show you a bit, like that you will see some of these later. Not all of them, but you will see some of them. And I put how it's pronounced so that people who like IPA can have a better understanding. But if you know Spanish at least a little bit, you won't have any problems pronouncing Basque. Pressaurete, are you ready to learn some euskara? Let's start. We're going to start with some basic greetings and presentations. So I will say the Basque word twice or 3 times, and then what it means. So if you want to repeat by yourself, you can do that. So let's start with Kaixo. Kaixo, it means hello. Egunon, egunon, good day or good morning. Arratsaldeon, arratsaldeon, good evening. Gabon, gabon, good night. Then if you want to ask how are you, you can ask ser moduz, and you can reply ondo, meaning well. But if you're feeling very well, you can say oso ondo. And when you want to ask and you ask eta su. So eta is and su is you, in singular. And then by is yes, and es is no. When you want to thank someone, you say eskerrik asko. Eskerrik asko. So a lot of thanks. And when you want to say you're welcome, you say es horregatik. Es horregatik. Don't be afraid to roll the R. Es horregatik. It means you're welcome, but it literally means not because of that. So I guess it's quite close to de nada in Spanish. And when you want to ask someone's name, you ask zein da zure izena. Zein da zure izena, literally meaning what's your name. You can also use nola izena duzu. Nola izena duzu. What's your name? And to reply, to tell your name, you say nire izena da. So I would say nire izena Siru da. You can also say izena dut. So Siru izena dut, for example, or just I am nice. Siru nice, for example. So this is how you introduce yourself to someone or ask someone for their name or just greet them. And here are some other phrases that you can use when meeting someone or in a conversation. So ongi etorri. I said this one when I started. Ongi etorri, meaning welcome. Sorry is barkatu. Barkatu. And noski. Noski is of course. Then when you're saying goodbye to someone, you can say see you tomorrow, which is biar arte. Biar arte. You don't pronounce the H. So biar arte, meaning until tomorrow. And see you later is gero arte. Gero arte, meaning until later. And just bye is agur. Agur. And congratulations is sorionak. Sorionak. You can also say that when it's someone's birthday, sorionak. And if you want to ask someone if they know Basque, you can ask euskara badakizu. Euskara badakizu, literally meaning do you know Basque? And if you don't speak it yet, you can reply ez oraindik ez. Ez oraindik ez, meaning no, not yet. And after this one, this crash course, you can say bye pishka bat. Bye pishka bat. Yes, a little. Bye pishka bat. And to say I am learning Basque, you can say euskara ikasten ari naiz. Euskara ikasten ari naiz. And if you want to learn Basque, you can say euskara ikasi nahi dut. Euskara ikasi nahi dut. So this can be quite useful for you. Let's see. And then I put these numbers. Don't be alarmed. I just put them so that you can ask someone how old they are, and then you can say how old you are. But I'm going to explain a bit about the numbers in Basque. I use some colors here so you can see more easily how the system works. So from numbers from 1 to 20 is more or less logical. So it's all like in at least any other language I know. So after 10, which is amar here, then from 11 to 19, you have the word 10 in the word. So for example, number 12 is 10-2, number 13 is 10-3, and so on. And then when we get to 20, after that it's just 20 and 1, 20, and 2, for example. But when we get to 30, it gets a bit more complicated. 30 is literally 20 and 10. So 31, ogeita maika, 20 and 11. And then when we get to 40, it's two 20s. So you see berrogei, ber comes from B, which is here, 2. So two 20s. Berrogeitavat, 41 is two 20s, 1, and so on. When we get to 50, it's berrogeitamar, so two 20s and 10. It takes a while. We played a lot of bingo when we started to learn the numbers in the language class. We played a lot of bingo. So 60 is three 20s. 70 is three 20s and 10. And 80 is four 20s, like in French. 90 is four 20s and 10. So you don't have to learn all these by heart. I suggest that you learn your age. And when you want to ask someone how old they are, you ask "Sembat urte ditusu?" "Sembat urte ditusu?" Literally meaning how many years do you have? And for example, I would reply "Ogeita mairu urte ditut." Ogeita amairu urte ditut. So 20 and 13, meaning I'm 33. And if you're, for example, 68, you can say "Irurogeita sortsi urte ditut." Irurogeita sortsi urte ditut. So three 20s and 8. And if you're a 1-year-old, which, well, I doubt, but if you are a 1-year-old, you can say "Urte battut." Urte battut. And if you want to ask someone else, and you ask "Eta suk." Eta suk. So here you might notice that you see there's ditut. Ogeita amairu urte ditut and urte battut. So ditut and dut, which both mean I have, literally. Then you can see that there's K after the question we already learned, "Eta su." So there's "Eta su," "Eta suk." And I'm going to explain to you why there are those two forms of each. Here is the verb isan, to be, and ukan, to have. And here you can see these are the personal pronouns. So here they don't have the K ending except for the second plural and third plural. But here you have the K endings, and that's the ergative case ending. So whenever your sentence is intransitive, so it doesn't have a direct object, for example, to be or to go, that uses this one without the K ending. And if you have a sentence with a direct object, you use this case ending. And that's why also I'm explaining the difference here. Why I said "Ogeitamar urte ditut," which is here, and "urte battut," because it's 1 year, so it's singular. And this "it" here, it marks the plural. So if you have something and there's more than one, you have to mark the plural in the verb. I have the example here. So if you are a teacher, it doesn't have a direct object, so it's intransitive, which is the absolutive case. So "Su irakatsleassara," you're a teacher. And then when you have the book, there's a direct object. So you have to mark it here. So when I started learning Basque, I thought, because I had never learned any language that had this structure. So I thought that the book is owned by you. That's how I started learning it 4 years ago. So you have the book, suk liburua duzu. Here you can see the verb to have, you have duzu. But when you have something that's more than one, like for example here, you have notes, suk apunteak dituzu. You have to mark the plural. So you put the it in the verb. So suk apunteak dituzu. K is also the plural ending, and it can be quite complicated to notice when it's actually the object and when it's the subject. So, but you don't have to worry about it here. This was just to show you in case someone was wondering, but there was ditut and dut and etasu and etasuk. So this is the reason. Let's continue with some maybe useful sentences. Oh, no. You are very beautiful. Oso polita zara. Oso polita zara. We saw oso earlier in oso ondo very well. So oso polita zara. What is this? Zer da hau? Zer da hau? And if you want to ask for a beer, you can say garagardo bat mesedes. Garagardo bat mesedes. But if you want to ask for 2 beers, you can say bi garagardo mesedes. Bi garagardo mesedes. And you might notice here that the number 1 is after the word, but then number 2 is before the word. So in Basque, number 1 is always after, because it also works as a like undetermined article. So like 1 beer, a beer. But then all the other numbers go before the word, and they don't. If you have a number, you don't use the plural ending in the word. So it's not bi garagardoak. It doesn't mark the, because that would mean those 2 beers. So you never, in this case, you don't put that case ending there. So just garagardobat or bi garagardo. And now when you know the numbers, you can ask for as many beers as you want. Then I love you can be useful. Maite zaitut. Maite zaitut. Maite here is love, the noun, and zaitut means that I have something for you. If I say you love me, the verb would be completely different, because in Basque you can put in the verb, you can put the person who does something and the object and the amount of if it's singular or plural. So that's also why I love Basque, because it's so fascinating. But here in this case, I love you is maite zaitut. Primeran. Primeran. Excellent. If you know like Romance languages, it might help you, like primero, first. So that's how you can remember that it's something that's like number 1 or first. So primeran, excellent. And if you lose your friend, you can ask non saude. Non saude, where are you? And you can reply, I am here. Hemen nago. Hemen nago. Here, again, a bit of grammar. Here you can see you are very beautiful. Here it's Sara. And here are, where you are, is saude. And this is the same as in Spanish with ser and estar. And so nago is the equivalent of estar in Spanish, but for me. So I am here, hemen nago, and not hemen naiz. So non saude, hemen nago. And since we learned the numbers, I thought that maybe you want to ask for someone's phone number, which is Zein da zure telefonoa. Zein da zure telefonoa, meaning what is your phone, meaning number. And to reply is nire telefonoa da. So, for example, my number is 123, nire telefonoa bat biiru da. And when you want to ask and yours, you say eta zurea. Eta zurea. Again, this is another variant because we have seen eta su and eta zuk. Now we have eta zurea, and it literally means yours. And if if someone asks for a phone number, you can reply nire telefonoa bat biiru da, or ask zergatik, why? And or reply zergatik ez, why not? Zergatik, zergatik ez. So that the other person can know you a bit better. Maybe it's nice to tell what you like and ask what the other person likes. So the question for what do you like is zer gustatzen zaizu. Here, if you speak Spanish, you might notice the verb gustatu, gustar. So zer gustatzen zaizu, sorry, in present. So here on the left side, you have things that are in singular. And on the right, you have things that are in plural, because you have to mark the number in the verb. So here in the singular part, for example, if you want to say, I like chocolate, you can say, niri chokolatea gustatzen zait. Niri chokolatea gustatzen zait. I put some words here that usually people like chocolate, chocolatea, chocolatea, grammar, grammatica, music, musica, and then some verbs. So if you like to sing, you can say niri kantatzea gustatzen zait. Kantatzea. To read, irakurtzea. To sleep, lo egitea. Lo egitea. To study, ikastea. Ikastea. To travel, bidaiatzea. Bidaiatzea. And then to eat well, ondo jatea. Ondo jatea. In some dialects, it would be ondo jatea, but I say ondo jatea. And then to laugh, everybody likes to laugh. Barre egitea. Barre egitea, literally to make laugh. So if you like to laugh, you can say niri barre egitea gustatzen zait. And then on the plural part, here on the right side, I put again some words that usually are in plural. But if you only like one, like if you only like one dog, you can say here it's plural chakurrak. But if you want to say I like one dog, a dog, you can just take the K away and say niri chakurra gustatzen zait. But here, if we say in plural, like for example, I like animals, niri animaliak gustatzen zaiskit. So zaiskit, it means that there are more than one things that you like. So besides animals, which is animaliak, we have chakurrak, for example, dogs, chakurrak. Then we have iskuntzak, iskuntzak, languages, filmak, filmak, movies, ondartzak, ondartzak, beaches, mendiak, mendiak, mountains, opariak, opariak, gifts, who doesn't like gifts, festak, festak, parties, loreak, loreak, flowers, and lagunak, lagunak, friends. So here are some examples of things that you might like. And of course, if you want to say I like Basque, you can use this one, niri euskara gustatzen zait. And now with everything you have learned, I thought that maybe you would like to have your first conversation in Basque or translate the first conversation. So this is just like everything here, don't panic. Everything that we have here is something that you have learned during this crash course. So let's start. So there are two people. There's Mikel and Aitor. And Mikel starts with egunon, zer moduz. Egunon, zer moduz. Good day or good morning. How are you? And Aitor replies, Kaixo, oso ondo eta zu. Kaixo, oso ondo eta zu, meaning hello, very well, and you? Ondo eskerrik asko. Zein da zure izena? Again, ondo eskerrik asko. Zein da zure izena? Well, thank you. What is your name? And Aitor replies, nire izena Aitor da. Eta zu, zein da zure izena? Nire izena Aitor da. Eta zu, zein da zure izena? My name is Aitor. And you? What is your name? And Mikel says, ni Mikel naiz. Euskara badakizu? Ni Mikel naiz. Euskara badakizu? I'm Mikel. Do you know Basque? Bai, pixka bat, euskara ikasten ari naiz. Again, bai, pixka bat, euskara ikasten ari naiz. Yes, a little. I'm learning Basque. Mikel says, oso ondo. Eta zergatik? Oso ondo. Eta zergatik? Very well or very good. And why? And Aitor replies, niri grammatika asko gustatzen zait. Niri grammatika asko gustatzen zait. So here you have seen niri grammatika gustatzen zait. I like grammar. And then in the thank you, which is a lot of thanks, eskerrik asko, you see there's a lot. So if you say something, if you say niri grammatika asko gustatzen zait, it means I like grammar a lot. And then Mikel replies, noski, primeran. Noski, primeran. Of course, excellent. So now you have translated or understood your first conversation in Basque. And you have learned all these things already. And with this, it can also help you a bit with changing the name. And if someone asks the age, you already know how to say how old you are. And yeah, congratulations, you had your first conversation or translation of a conversation in Basque. Oso ondo, zorionak. Very good and very well done. Congratulations. And yeah, this was the crash course in Basque. And in case you have zalantzarik, if you have questions, I will have my contact details in my profile in the platform, and I will be around. If you see me in a language practice room, you can come and say hi, you can come and say Kaixo, and just don't hesitate. I'm here if you have any questions. And eskerrik asko, gero arte eta agur. And now there will be a language practice room for Basque, in case you want to practice what you have just learned and make some new friends. Ongi etorri.